Okay, so in your design of lacing, first step is your shear. Okay, design of your transverse shear. Where do you find all this? All these formulas are in your page number 48, 49 and 50 of your IS 800. So the complete design of your lacing systems you have in your page number 48, 49 and 50 of your IS 800. So the first step in your design of your lacing is your transverse shear. Okay, so the first one is your transverse shear. So in transverse shear, what is your formula you have? I said VT is equal to 2.5% of your column load. Okay, whatever is the total column load given in your question, it is 2.5 times your column load. So your VT will be equal to 2.5 divided by 100 into the given factored load is 1600. So you'll be getting it 40 kilonewton. This is your first step in the design of your lacing. You're trying to find out what is the transverse shear that is developed in the member. Your step number 2 is your inclination of the lacing. Okay, lacing inclination. So always I said lacing inclination standard we follow theta is equal to 45 degree. At what angle is your lacing inclined? Okay, if you have two columns like this, if you have two columns, column A and then you have your column B. Okay, so your lacing will be, this is your lacing, what I'm drawing right now, this is your lacing. Always the lacing, if you consider with respect to the horizontal, it will be inclined at 45 degree with respect to your horizontal. So that is the meaning of your angle of your inclination. Okay, so next, okay, so your third step in the design of your lacing system is your length of your lacing. To find the length of your lacing, first you have to draw your double channel section. Whatever your columns are there, these are your double channel sections. Okay, so these columns are your double channel section. So this is your link system what you have. Okay, and then this is your channel or your C section. Okay, so what is your lacing? Lacing member is an inclined member which is used to connect one column to your other column. I repeat, lacing is a system which is used to connect one column to the other. Why do you have to connect one column to the other? To transmit your load or the force from one column to your next column. That is why we use your lacing. Okay, so this whatever member I have drawn, it is lacing. And what is the kind of lacing I have drawn? It is a single lacing system. You have just one member used to connect two columns. So this is your single lacing system what I've drawn. Okay, so you'll to find out the length of the lacing, first you need to draw your double channel section or your double C section. Okay, so once you draw your double channel section, what I said, this distance, okay, that is the spacing between the two channels. This will call it as S dash. S dash is your spacing between your channels. And for the particular channel section what you have got in the initial steps of your design, okay, so you have to refer to your steel table and get your gauge distance. I repeat, for the double channel section what you have chosen from your steel table, okay, so you have to also write down what is your gauge distance. What is your gauge distance? Gauge distance is nothing but the minimum distance that has to be left from your corner after which the connections should start. If you observe in this figure, whatever this lacing system is there, it will not start from the edge of the column. It will never start from the edge of the column. Somewhere at certain distance from your, I mean, in your column, it is going to start. It will not start from the edge over here. Okay, so that is why how much distance we have to leave. This distance to be left from the edge is known as your gauge distance. Okay, so this gauge distance we get it from our steel table. Okay, for the channel section what you have chosen according to your previous step, the gauge distance is 60. Okay, so that is the distance which you have to leave from your corner. So the distance between the two channel section, this is your spacing value. And then you have to write down what is your width of your flange. This is your flange portion, bottom flange, top flange, this is your web portion. So you need to write down what is the width of your flange. So B will be equal to 100, both the sides, because I've chosen an channel section which is equal. So the width B or width of the flange will be 100 mm, whereas you're getting this value from your steel table. Okay, so after you get I mean all these values, now you can calculate distance. In this from where your lacing system is starting from the column, and in the other column, where is it ending? That is your lacing system. Okay, the entire distance of the lacing. And be very careful, this lacing is an inclined member. But what is the distance we are trying to find out? We are trying to find what is the linear distance. We are not finding the inclined distance. Now we are finding out what is the linear distance, that is x, from where your lacing system is starting and where lacing system is ending. So that is your x distance, what we are trying to find out. In figure, if I have to show, it is the distance, this distance is your x distance. Okay, so to find out your x distance, if I need this x distance, how will I get the x distance? Now it is going to be g, that is your 60 plus 60, okay, plus your spacing value, okay, 60 plus 60, that is this value. Okay, from that distance I have to subtract, what is the thing you have to subtract from the total distance, that is g equal to 60 plus x plus g. I have to subtract the spacing. That time you are going to get your x value. So if I try to write it in terms of formula, your x will be 2b minus of 2g plus your s dash. Okay, because you have two width values and two gauge distance values. So then your x will be equal to 2 into b distance or width of the flange is 100 minus 2 times your gauge distance is 60 plus your s dash distance. So your s dash distance from your design step, previous step, you've got your spacing already have calculated in the design of your column. So you've got your spacing value as 83.33. Same thing you have to write. So your x will be equal to 163.73 mm. Okay, so that is your x distance, or we are finding out the linear distance or the linear length of your lacing system. After you find out your x distance, now we have to find out your L distance, or what is the total length of your lacing system. Now we are trying to find length. First, what you have done, this x distance is your horizontal or your linear length. Okay, now we are actually the inclined length. Okay, so we are trying to find out what is your inclined length. Just I don't know how many of you remember AutoCAD, but always the inclined distance will be greater than your linear distance. Okay, to take the same, suppose you have some inclined member, if you try to measure the linear distance of an inclined member, and if you measure the inclined distance of this member, inclined distance means like this, you're going to measure the value. Okay, so this is nothing but your inclined distance. This is your linear distance. Let me call this inclined distance as L. Okay, so always your inclined distance will be greater than your linear distance, or L will be greater than X. Okay, you have to remember that. Okay, so in order to find that, what I can do, I know two things. What I know the angle of inclination of my lacing member, as well as I know what is the X value. Now X I have already calculated. So I know one distance value and I know one angle value. That time which formula you can use? You can use your cos theta. Okay, so your cos theta will be equal to X divided by L. Okay, so your cos theta will be equal to X divided by your L. Okay, so cos, theta value you have, angle of inclination, I said always for your lacing system, you have to take your angle of inclination to be equal to 45 degree. Okay, we already in our step number 2, we have found out the, we have assumed your angle of inclination theta to be 45 degree. This is as per codal specification. Okay, if you just go through your page number 48, 49, you have some theory about your lacing system. What is the function of it? How is it used? And what are the values to be taken? So there the code always says it's better to go for 45 degree of your inclination. That time the whatever load transfer system from one column to the other column will be more efficient when compared to your other angle. Now X I've just now got it as 163.73. So I can find my inclined distance L. So L will be equal to 163.73 divided by cos of 45. So you will get L is equal to 231.55 mm. Now we can just compare, just to verify what I've said. L you have got it as 231.55 mm. What is the X distance you have got? You've got your X distance as 163.73. What I said, always your inclined distance will be greater than your linear distance. This is your check. If this you get it correct, that time whatever calculation or step you have done is right. If you get the reverse case, if you get x greater than L, then you have gone wrong somewhere. Okay, so L, that is inclined length, is greater than your linear length. So we have got, now what are the things we have found? We have found out how much amount of shear is developed. That is your step number 1. Any member, whenever it is inclined, always there will be some amount of shear force that will be developed. So first we are trying to find the transverse shear. Later we have assumed the angle of inclination of your lacing member to be equal to 45 degree. Then first we are finding out what is the linear length of my lacing member. Okay, from the total distance, I will subtract the gauge distance in order to get what is the value of your x. So once I get x, I know an included angle, I know a distance, so I can use my cos theta formula, okay, from your principles of trigonometry. And then I can determine what is my inclined distance L. Always your inclined distance should be greater than your linear distance. So this is your check that whatever you have done is correct. So after you find that, next you have to find, now we have got the length. Now we have to find your effective length. Always the next step is to find out what is your effective length. For effective length, if you remember last class I said there are two lacing systems. One is your single lacing system and one more is your double lacing system. Till here, be it a single lacing system or be it a double lacing system, all your formulas will remain the same or all your steps will remain the same. There is not going to be any difference between your single lacing system and your double lacing system. But from here, after you find out your length of the lacing system, the next few steps changes. Suppose now in this question they're asking me to design it as a single lacing system. So for a single lacing system, L effective is equal to L or the original length according to your IS 800. So since it is single lacing, L effective equal to L, that is 231.55 mm. Suppose they ask you to design the member as a double lacing system, then what is the change? In the same problem, I've incorporated or I've written the steps for double lacing also. Okay, just in order to, instead of doing two problems, just tell it in a same problem, because there is hardly 2 or 3 changes in the design of single and double lacing system. Okay, so that is the reason. Suppose it is a double lacing system, that time your effective length will be equal to 0.7 times your original length. Okay, so 0.7 into L as per your IS 800. So 0.7 into what is the length you have? 231.55. So you will get around 162.09 mm. So after you get your effective length, okay, so you have found out length, effective length, okay, for both. If you ever asked single lacing, this problem is on single lacing, so this step is enough. Suppose they had asked you to design like double lacing, here the step would have changed. Okay, this is the difference. Next step, step number 4 is you're finding out the lacing dimension, or in other words, you're trying to find out what is the width of the lacing. You found out what is the length of your lacing. Now we are trying to determine what is the width of the lacing. This width we are trying to determine. Okay, so we know the length. Next we have to find out what is the width of the lacing. So as per your IS code, the width of the lacing, I'll call it a small b. Width of the lacing, small b, is equal to 3 times the dia of your bolt. I repeat, as per your IS code, the width of the lacing is 3 times the dia of your bolt. Here, the bolt diameter is not given. So since bolt diameter is not given, you have to assume your grade of your bolt. Okay, you have to assume, take minimum as your M12. You can take the minimum grade of bolt as M16 grade of your bolt. Okay, so minimum, if it's not given in your question, you have to take M16 bolt. I'll just take M18. Okay, so the minimum grade of bolt what you have to assume is M16 grade of your bolt. I will assume M18 grade of the bolt. So that time, what is your diameter? M18 grade means dia is equal to 18 mm. Now I can find what is the width of my lacing. So 3 into 18. So 3 into 18 will be 54 mm. I said in the design problems, always round it off to the nearest 5-digit or 10-digit number. 54 mm, I can round it off to 55 mm. Okay, so next. That is your step number 4. Now what else is left? The thickness of your lacing system is left. Okay, so next you have to find out what is the thickness of your lacing system. Length we have found, Width of the lacing we have found. We are left with the thickness. Yeah, one more thing. Your width of the lacing, be it single lacing or your double lacing, the width value will not change. Okay, single or double lacing, your width will never change. Okay, only the change will be in terms of the length and in thickness. Okay, you will have the change in length, and next in your thickness value will have the changes based on whether it is single or your double lacing system. Suppose as per this problem, you have to design it like a single lacing system. So for a single lacing system, the thickness value is equal to effective length divided by 40. Okay. So for a single lacing, the thickness is equal to effective length divided by 40. Okay. So effective length, what is the effective length? You have to take the effective length of a single lacing system. What is the effective length you've got for a single lacing system? 231.55. So 231.55 divided by 40. It is as per your IS code. Your single lacing system thickness should be taken as effective length divided by 40. Okay, so 231 by 40, I'll get around 5.7. I said you have to round it off to the nearest 5 or 10 digit number. So 5.7 is close to 6. So I'll round off the thickness value to 6 mm. This is applicable for your single lace system. Okay, so single lacing, effective length divided by 60. Suppose the problem is on double lacing system. Suppose it was double lacing what you had to design. For a double lace system, the thickness value is equal to effective length divided by 60. Okay, so for a double lacing system, the thickness value is equal to effective length divided by 60. Now, which effective length you have to take? You have to take the effective length of your double lacing system. For the effective length of the double lacing system, how much I have got it? 162.09. Okay, be very careful. You have to take that particular effective length. So 162.09 divided by 60. Okay, so then you will get your thickness value. So once you get your thickness value, some 5.8 something, you can round it off to 6 mm. So accordingly, you have to do whether it is a single lacing system or whether it is a double lacing system. So this is your step number 5 in the design of your lacing. These 5 steps are based on your design. First, since it's an inclined member, you'll find the transverse shear. The second step, you will find out your angle of inclination. You will take it as 45. Third step, you will find the length, and you will take the effective length if it is based on what is given in your question. If it is a single lacing, effective length of single lacing, and if it is a double lacing, effective length of double lacing. The next step, what will you find? You will find what is the width of your lacing. Width of your lacing will be same irrespective of single or double lacing. Fifth step is finding the thickness. Till here, it is basic, or you must do these 5 steps in the design of your lacing system. The last 3 steps are on your check. Okay, the various check what you apply for your lacing system, or we'll check whatever dimensions what you got is effective to take up the load or not. So the first step, check what you have to do, that is your step 6. So check for slenderness. Okay, the first check what we do is the check for your slenderness ratio. Okay, since it is partially related to your design of columns, that is why we have to do the check slenderness ratio. So slenderness ratio according to notebook, you can just check effect into root 12 divided by t. Okay, effective length into root of 12 divided by t. This is the formula for your effective length. Okay, so here now effective length, you have to be very careful. Like you have to see the question if it is a single lacing system or if it is a double lacing system, and accordingly you have to take. Don't mismatch. Okay, don't do the mismatching of your this thing. Okay, so lambda will be equal to effective length. Suppose I consider it to be a single lacing system. Effective length was, I mean, it is a single lacing system what they've asked in question. So 231.55 into root of 12 divided by the thickness value of got is 6 mm. So you'll get this as 133.68. According to your code, your slenderness ratio should not be greater than 45. Okay, according to your code, the slenderness ratio should not be greater than 145. It is there in your code book. You can just refer later on. It is in page number 50. Okay, page number 50. clause number 7.6.6.3. After the class, you can just refer IS 800, page number 50, clause number 7.6.6.3. There is a sentence there. The slenderness ratio of the lacing bars shall not exceed 145. So you need not remember, it is there in your code book, just you have to substitute the values. Okay, so then you'll get as 133.68. Now this is less than 145, so hence it is safe. So the check for your slenderness ratio has been satisfied. The next check what you have to apply, okay, is you have to find out what is now whenever you find out your slenderness ratio, next you can determine what is your design compressive stress. I repeat, whenever we find out the slenderness ratio, what is the next step we do? We find out your FCD value by referring to our table number 9C of your IS 800. So when we refer to table number 9C, what is the value you've got? 133.68. So 133.68 will lie between 130 and 140. Okay, it will lie between 130 and 140. So 130, 140, these are your slenderness ratio values. Under your Fy equal to 250 Newton per mm square, please write down what is the value. So whatever value you write here, that is 74.3. For 140, it will be 66.2. This is going to be your FCD values. So interpolate for 133.68 directly in your calci and write down what is the value. So if you interpolate, you will get 71.3. So this is going to be your design compressive stress. Okay. If you want, you can find out your PD also by taking the area value from your previous, previous step of the design, whatever area of your double lacing system, if you have, you can find out your PD equal to AE into FCD, or it's enough if you find just your FCD value. Since it is only a check for your slenderness ratio, it is enough. If you want, you can find FCD, and if you want, you can find PD also, which is your design compressive strength equal to AE into FCD. FCD you have area, you can take it from your previous step. Before doing the design of lacing, we have done the design of your column section. So from there, you can take your value. So that ends your step number 6. Next, step number 7 in the design of columns, in the design of your lacings is, we have to find what is the force in your lacing system. Okay, the step number 7 is finding out what is your force in the lacing system. What is meant by force here now? So whenever you incline your lacing system in this particular manner, what happens? There will be two forces acting on the, lacing system. There will be one component which is your horizontal force. Okay, there will be one component which is a horizontal force in your lacing system. This is what we are trying to find out now. We are trying to find what is your F value, or what is the force in this lacing system. Okay, from this column, how much amount of force is coming onto your lacing system, which needs to be transmitted. Okay, so this is the component what we have, that is your inclined component. It is in the direction of your lacing. One more component will be your horizontal component. Okay, because two things you have found out. We have found out what is the horizontal length of the lacing system, as well as we have found what is the inclined length of the lacing system. Similarly, when finding out your force also, we have to find one horizontal component of your force, and one more is your inclined component of your force. The horizontal component of the force, we call it as F itself. Okay, the horizontal component of the force, we are going to call it as F itself, which is in the direction of your lacing. Okay, so this component, which is your linear component, we will call it as VT. This linear component, we will call it as VT. Okay, just this portion I'll draw it separately now. To find the force in the lacing system, just that components I have drawn separately. This is your F, which is along the direction of your lacing bar. This is your VT, which is your along the linear direction. Okay, so VT, we know it is 40 kilonewton. This is given in your question, that on the lacing system 40 kilonewton of your load is acting. Okay, so we can take that value, or it is nothing but your, one second, or it is nothing but your transverse shear value. VT is your transverse shear value, okay, which you would have found out. Or sometimes in the question they'll give, take the transverse force in the lacing system to be equal to so and so kilonewton. If it is given in the question, take that value. If your transverse shear value is not given, anyways we have found out in this particular step in our design. The very first step in our design, we have found out what is the transverse shear. Take this value. If it is given in question, then you have to take the value what is given in question for your transverse shear. And we know the angle of inclination of your lacing with respect to your horizontal. We have assumed that value to be 45 degree. Okay, we have assumed the angle of inclination of your lacing system with respect to the horizontal to be equal to 45 degree. Just that diagram I've drawn it separately. Now this resembles your triangle. Okay, I can just convert it into a, okay, I can just convert it into a triangle now. Okay, so I'll assume it to be as a triangle. This is F, this is VT, which is 40 kilonewton. So now what formula we can apply? When we know one angle and one side, we can apply cos of 45 degree. So cos 45 will be VT divided by F. Okay, cos theta, cos of 40 will be VT divided by your F. Okay, by converting it into a triangle, okay, we can write your cos theta formula. Cos theta is your VT value divided by your F. Okay, so after you write your cos theta formula, now remaining things you can substitute. Cos 45 VT, or the transverse shear value as given in question or as we have found out, that is nothing but your 40 kilonewton. Okay, divided by your F value. Now your F value is unknown, so just write it as it is, 40 divided by cos of 45. Okay, now here what you have to do, you have to be very careful. Suppose if it is a single lacing system, then you will keep it as it is. Suppose it is a double lacing system, then what happens in double lacing, there will be two angles of inclination, or you'll have two bars, right? What is meant by double lacing system? Here you just have a single lacing bar. In your double lacing system, you will have one more bar like this. Okay, one more bar like this, which connects one column and your other column. That time for this bar also, there is going to be one more angle of inclination. Suppose we assume that also to be equal to 45 degree. So in case of your double lacing system, in the denominator, whatever you have, you should multiply by 2. If it is a single lacing system, then you can keep it as 1. Okay, I've just cross multiplied. I've just applied cos 45, 40 kilonewton divided by F. If all the values are known, only unknown is F. F, if I just cross multiply, 40 divided by cos of 45 kilonewton, I've written it as 10 power 3 in terms of Newton, divided by, now it is a single lacing system, so I'll keep it as cos 45. Suppose it is a double lacing system, then in the denominator you will have two angle of inclination, so you have to keep it as 2. Okay, so that you will find out what is the force in your. So after you find out force, just calculate that value. So after you find out what is the force in the member, the last step in the design of your lacing, totally there are 8 steps. First 5 steps are related to your design. The next 3 steps are related to your check. So we have done the check for the slenderness ratio, and we have checked for the force in the lacing system. Okay, so always the force in your lacing system should be less than your transverse shear. Always the check is the force in the lacing system should be less than your transverse shear. That is the check. The last step what we have to apply is your check for strength. Okay, check for slenderness is over, check for the force in the member is over. Last is your check for your strength. What are the two types of strengths you have? One is your compressive strength and one more is your tensile strength. Okay, so we find out both, that is your tensile strength as well as your compressive strength. So compressive strength, the formula will be equal to, okay, for your compressive strength, whatever the formula is there, the formula is B into T into your FCD. Okay, width of the member into the thickness of the member into the stress that is developed in the member. That is your design compressive strength. Just remember, compressive stress is equal to design compressive stress into your B into T. Or in other words, if you remember the PD formula, what was your PD? PD was AE into FCD, correct? So instead of AE, I have written it as, what is area? Width into the thickness of any member is your area. So just remember in this form, PD is A into FCD. AE we do not know directly. So what they do here, they will take it as the width of the lacing system into the thickness of the lacing system to be equal to area into your FCD. So don't try to by heart, just understand the concept what they're applying. So that time you'll remember the formula. If you just try to by heart in your exam, you might forget it. So this, from this they have derived this formula, P into T into FCD. So now the width of your lacing system we know from your initial steps, it is 55. Into the thickness of the lacing we got it as 6 mm, and FCD value we have also found that we have got it as 71.3 when we did the check for slenderness to find out your FCD and PD. So here we have got our FCD value. So you can just substitute. So you'll get the compressive strength of the member to be equal to 23.5 kilonewton. Okay. So your design compressive strength is 23.5 kilonewton. Then along with that, you have to also find out what is your tensile strength of your lacing system. Compressive strength is easy. Next, you have to find out what is the tensile strength in the lacing system. So always the tensile strength will depend on some steel member, correct? So whenever the word tensile is involved, there should be some steel or some member like that. Okay, so what we do, tensile strength is always based on your bolts. Okay, a tensile strength will always depend on the number of bolts or the dia of the bolt which is used in your connection. For our lacing bar, in order to find the lacing bar, we have to find out what is the tensile strength. So whenever we are trying to connect this lacing bar to your column, what is the thing we use to connect here? We'll provide bolts here. Okay, so number of bolts depends, but we are going to provide bolt over here in order to connect this lacing to this column and here to connect to this column. Minimum at every column, one bolt we have to provide. One bolt between this and this, one bolt between this and this. If you want, we can provide more also, but minimum one bolt at each of your ends you need to provide, okay, to connect your lacing to your column. Okay, so your tensile strength will depend on your bolts. So the formula becomes B minus of D naught, same formula like as you have your compressive strength, only that B term what you have, B minus of D naught you have to do, okay. B becomes B minus D naught because it depends on the dia of your bolt hole. Then the remaining things will remain the same, into T into FCD. Okay, the only change in your compressive and tensile stress is B. For compressive you will have B, for your tensile you will have it as B minus of D naught. So your width of your section, you have it as lacing system is 55, width of your lacing, single lacing is 55 minus, okay, dia of the bolt, whatever you assume, M18 bolt or M20 bolt, okay. So here, what is the grade of bolt I had assumed in previous step? M18 bolt. If M18 bolt I assume, dia is equal to 18 mm. So your D naught value will be 18 plus 2, which will be equal to 20 mm. D naught is your dia of your bolt hole. So that is why it becomes 20 into the thickness of your lacing is 6 mm into FCD value. You can take same. What you have got for your compressive member, same value you can take, because FCD stands for your design compressive stress itself. So we can directly use the same value, 71.3. So we'll get it as 14.97 kilonewton. Just you can write one note over here. Use single bolt at each end. If you are using two bolts, you can write use two bolts at each end. Whatever you assume, accordingly you write. Here I have used single. I said minimum we have to use single bolt at each end to connect your lacing to your column. So I've written it accordingly. Okay. So this is your last step. The only step that is left is drawing your figure, that I'll just show you directly. Okay, this is how you have to draw your figure in the last step. Okay, so this two, whatever you see here, later you can just check. This is your first column, column 1. This is your second column. What is your lacing? It is an inclined member which is used to transmit the force from one column to your other column. So you will draw this as a single lacing. Okay, so it's enough at least if you show one lacing bar. It is not necessary that you show like this. I've just shown throughout the length of your column how the lacing will be placed. So here it is starting, here it is ending. Wherever it ends, the next lacing will start over there and it will end at the other corner. Again, wherever it has ended, just in a spiral manner, you will have your lacing always. Okay, just remember the form of your lacing will always be spiral manner. Then you can just show, see I've shown here 1 bolt at each end. This whatever I've shown is 1 bolt at each end. Then column in your design, whatever you had assumed, column 2 is a 2 ISLC 300 in your first step. Before starting with the design of lacing, that column you have to write. Then this lacing 550 by 6, what is this? B cross T value, width of the lacing into the thickness of the lacing. So I've called it as lacing. Okay, then angle of inclination of your lacing with respect to the horizontal is always 45 degree. Then you can indicate what is the width of the column. Width of the column is 100 mm. Where we have got it from the steel table. Then the distance between your two columns is your spacing. Spacing from the design, I've got it as 83.73. This is the end of the column. Okay, at least you have to show one lacing bar, and later you can show it as a cut section if you want. But if you want to show throughout the length of your column, you can just show in a zigzag manner. Don't count and draw 1, 2, 3, 4. It is not like that. It can be how much ever it runs throughout the length of your column. So at least in your exams, when you're showing, when you don't have time, you can show 1 or 2, but indicate all details like 1 bolt used, angle of inclination, the column, lacing bar dimension, all this dimension should be indicated even if you don't draw the complete zigzag pattern. So this ends your type 2 as well as design of your columns. We have type 3 here. In type 3, we have around 4 to 5 problems. So if we complete that, we'll be completing your module number 3. Okay, so I will need another 1 week to complete this module. So once this module is over, the next 2 modules are short. We can finish it early itself. Okay, only the